Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another stream. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are all hanging in there right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still currently holding at $30,000. So this is for sure a very a very strong, support level for Bitcoin, above $30,000. So we know already that Bitcoin has in fact been, consolidating, okay, at this level for quite some time now, right? In between $31,000 and 30K. It seems like every single time we see Bitcoin, touch $31,000 or even just go above $31,000, okay, it does in fact, have a correction back down to $30,000. And that has in fact been happening for the past, 14 days now for Bitcoin, 2 weeks now. So, I've been telling you guys, this is in fact a great buying option right now for Bitcoin. And that's why, guys, right? If you guys haven't actually seen my most previous video that I've uploaded today, I actually bought some Bitcoin, right? So I actually bought some Bitcoin tonight, okay, like literally like an hour ago. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you should definitely check out that video. But yes, I did in fact go ahead and buy some more Bitcoin, and I hope you guys are in fact as well, because right now we are still in the buy zone. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin, okay? And I think right now is literally the perfect time to buy Bitcoin, right? Because we have in fact been seeing Bitcoin, consolidating, okay, at $30,000, right? So if you really think about it, right now is obviously a great time to really start, accumulating as much Bitcoin as you possibly can, since we are in fact coming up to the next bull market very, very soon. So there is in fact a fair few things I want to talk about in today's video, and one of them is of course 40K. Bitcoin is right now on the urge of pumping all the way up to $40,000. You guys have no idea. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a fair few charts indicating that Bitcoin will in fact reach this price target. Okay, some new charts that did in fact come out today. So of course I want to show you guys, and I did in fact show you guys these charts in today's videos. But if you guys haven't seen my most recent videos that I've uploaded today, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys these charts, right? But before I do that, let's talk about the cryptocurrency market, because right now, okay, we are in fact seeing some slight dips for the market. You guys can clearly see the global crypto market cap's currently at 1.18 trillion, and overall the market's down slightly by 0.47%. Okay, so you guys can clearly see for the past 24 hours, not much movements for Bitcoin or for Ethereum, and of course other altcoins as well. You guys can just clearly see that, right? But Avalanche is actually up 8%. At $13. So that's absolutely amazing to see for Avalanche. And Solana is coming at $21. Great to see for Solana. Okay, it's up 2.6%, and for the past week it's up 17%. So Solana has in fact been pumping, and actually yesterday we actually saw it pump as well. Even today it's continuing to slightly pump as well. So that's great to see for Solana. But majority of altcoins that are not really moving for the past 24 hours, including Bitcoin, right? But yes, let's talk about it, guys. 40K Bitcoin. Bitcoin is in fact on its way to reaching $40,000. And I really want to talk about specifically that price target for Bitcoin, okay, for today's stream. So let's start with this chart. So this chart right here, guys, you guys can clearly see is pretty much showing, different months how Bitcoin was in fact performing, pretty much this year in 2023. We know January, okay, Bitcoin did perform pretty well. We had a 40% return for that month in January, right? Who remembers? Okay, and in March we had like a 23% return. So, for these past few months for this year in 2023 has in fact been looking pretty good for Bitcoin, right? So pretty much, guys, the reason why Bitcoin was in fact pumping this much is because pretty much Binance and other whales have been buying crypto, right? So in January, okay, Binance whales were in fact, buying into crypto and whatnot. Then of course we saw MicroStrategy bought Bitcoin in March, and we actually saw about like 2 weeks ago, right, over a week ago, we saw MicroStrategy actually buy some more Bitcoin. Okay, and now we know MicroStrategy are in fact holding over 150,000 Bitcoins, which is absolutely insane, right? And obviously we know MicroStrategy is the largest company out there that holds the most Bitcoin, right? We know that, and they're still stacking. And now we know, right, that BlackRock, a major institution out there, right, the largest investment company in the world, net worth to be estimated around 9 trillion, okay, are in fact filing for Bitcoin ETFs. We all know that, right? And if this actually if this actually does become true and accepted, right, we're gonna see Bitcoin pump. So July, this is where we are right now currently. We know Bitcoin is in fact consolidating. You guys clearly see that. So we could potentially, yes, we could potentially see Bitcoin have a small correction down to the downside. But this month, and I've been telling you guys as many times that I really do believe this month alone, we're going to see Bitcoin really, really pump. Okay. And I really do believe this month in July, Bitcoin's going to perform pretty well. We know, usually the month of July, Bitcoin actually performs pretty well. We can see in previous years in July, Bitcoin has performed pretty well as well, like in 2022, just last year, 2021, of course, and 2020. Bitcoin was performing amazing, right, for the month of July. So I don't think there's going to be no difference to this year in July. So I think, this July, right, for this year, Bitcoin, we will in fact see Bitcoin perform pretty well. And it's indicating that Bitcoin could potentially reach around $35,000. And it seems like to me, right, it seems like to me, a lot of people out there are in fact predicting that Bitcoin will reach that next price target of $35,000. Seems like that's for sure going to be the next stop for Bitcoin. If you guys have in fact been watching my streams and my videos for the past like few weeks, few months, then you guys would know that a fair few people have in fact been predicting that Bitcoin will reach $35,000, right? It seems like that is a very, very strong predictions for a lot of people, because a lot of people are in fact saying Bitcoin's next stop, next price target to hit once it actually breaks above $32,000, right, breaks that resistance line. So the upside, right, is around 35k, around 38k, maybe even $40,000 as well. That's what a lot of people are in fact saying. So you guys can clearly see this is very, very, very possible for Bitcoin, right? And here's another chart that I showed you guys before, but if you guys haven't seen this chart, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys it. And this chart is pretty much indicating that Bitcoin will potentially reach these price targets of $36,000 and $40,000 next, right? So these are in fact potentially the next price targets for Bitcoin to reach. And we know Bitcoin has in fact been having a very strong, sideways movements for the past 2 weeks. So we have to be very patient, guys. Okay. If you guys haven't seen yesterday's videos, yesterday's video, I talked about being patient. For all my Bitcoin holders out there. So if you guys haven't seen that video, it's pretty important. So I would highly suggest you guys to watch that video, because we should be very patient right now. Even though, yes, Bitcoin has in fact been consolidating, moving on its side, right, for a while now, for like over 2 weeks. Okay, it's understandable. People are in fact getting bored. People want Bitcoin to move, but we're going to be patient, guys. Okay, and just be blessed, because this still gives us time to buy Bitcoin at $30,000. Okay, and that's exactly what I've been doing. I have in fact been buying Bitcoin at 30k. I literally just bought some Bitcoin tonight, right, like a few hours ago, because it was still at 30k. So I'm gonna take that as an opportunity. And if Bitcoin does in fact have a correction back down to the downside of 29k or 28 or even 27, you already know what I'm going to be doing, right? I'm going to be buying more Bitcoin. Okay, so every single time I see Bitcoin have a drop, I'm going to take that as an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin, to stack more BTC, right? And you guys should do the exact same thing. So right now is in fact the perfect time to buy Bitcoin, guys. You guys clearly see that Bitcoin's clearly forming a new pattern up to the upside, right? We have a red hit bottom and it's clearly forming a new pattern up to the upside. So most likely Bitcoin, okay, it's all up from here. You guys can clearly see from this white chart right here on the top, it's all up from here, guys, right? It really, really is. We have a red hit bottom, and Bitcoin's clearly breaking out from the bottom and from this falling wedge that we have in fact been seeing all of 2022. So this is potentially the next start of the next bull market, right? Now guys, patience is key. Okay, now we know Bitcoin has in fact been forming this cup and handle neckline, and it seems like it will finally break out, which means Bitcoin will pump massively, guys. Okay, so you guys can clearly see we have this little curve, little handle right here. Okay, I've talked about this pattern a fair bit in my streams and videos, and it seems like once Bitcoin actually breaks 32k, which is actually indicated right here on this chart right there, it seems like we will potentially have the next leg up. So a massive movement is in fact coming for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin holders out there, be ready for that. Now, I talked about this as well in my videos today, but this is a pretty simple chart showing you guys that the Bitcoin price, of course, and of course the realized price. Okay, so it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin, and you guys can clearly see every single time, right? We have that halving every time. It pumps to a new high. You guys can just clearly see that from this chart, right? So we know the next halving is about to happen around April next year in 2024, literally right around the corner, less than 1 year from now. So meaning we're going to see Bitcoin pump. But obviously, guys, like I've mentioned this many times, and I'm pretty sure we all know this, right, already, that once the halving actually happens, we're not going to see Bitcoin pump straight away. Give it a few weeks, give it a few months. And that's why I've been telling guys, towards the end of the year in 2024, that's when I really do believe, we will in fact see Bitcoin pump, right, to at least a new all high, right, a new, all-time high for Bitcoin. And here's another chart, right? It's pretty impressive how Bitcoin, has been moving the same way for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? For the past 10 years, Bitcoin has in fact been, performing the same way. Nothing has really changed, right? Like literally nothing has really changed. You guys can clearly see it pumped, and then it had a drop, and it had a fake out, and then it pumped again, and then it dropped, it had a little fake out, and then of course it pumped again, and then it dropped, had a fake out, and now potentially, right, you guys can clearly see, it's clearly, forming a new pattern up to the upside. You guys clearly see that, so it's going to pump, right? So it's always the same patterns, guys. And you guys know, that I am, in fact, a believer in, sort of a believer in, history repeating itself, patterns rhyming, and following the same way as it did in the past. And of course, it's like clockwork, right? So it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin. And it's all awesome here, guys. It really, really is. So be excited for that. But of course, when we see Bitcoin pump, of course, we're going to have small corrections along the way. It's not going to just pump straight, you know what I mean? Like straight up. It's going to obviously have small corrections. And of course, it's going to consolidate, right? Like what it's doing right now. So that's that. Now, this is very important, right? This is why, guys, you should always invest your money. You should never keep your money, save your money, or just have cash in hand, right? You should always invest money into assets. And one of them is Bitcoin, right? I highly suggest you guys to invest into the assets. I don't want you guys to, save your money in the bank, because we know inflation nowadays is going out of hand. It's going crazy, right? And we know, of course, the US dollar, right, and just fiat money in general is in fact collapsing. It's going down in value a lot. So, let's just say 10 years ago, you have in fact just been saving, you didn't really, invest any of your money, your money would have lost a lot of its value, right? So this is what I will say, guys, to invest your money. If you want to stay away from inflation and whatnot, and you want to keep up with inflation, always invest into assets, guys. You don't want to, keep your money in the bank. You don't want to just keep saving fiat money in the bank. You know what I mean? You want to invest it, guys, right? Eventually you want to invest that money into, Bitcoin, into the stock market, into, gold, right? Or into, real estate, right? I have nothing wrong or anything against these different assets, but I highly suggest you guys to invest into Bitcoin, because you guys can clearly see Bitcoin is always shooting up. And I'll get into that. I actually want to show you guys a clip, right? A clip that I really want to show you guys towards the end of today's stream. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, you guys can clearly see it's very, very simple, right? It really is very simple. Bitcoin is always shooting up while, the US dollar and fiat money in general is just collapsing. It's just losing its value while Bitcoin is shooting up. So just think about that, right? Just think about it, okay? So if you want to catch up with inflation, go ahead and invest into Bitcoin, okay? And that is why, guys, Bitcoin was in fact created at the first place, okay? That's why this anonymous person to this day, Satoshi Nakamoto, he or she or a group of people, we have no idea, but personally, I think it's a single man, right? It's a single person, and I really do believe this person created Bitcoin because of this reason. And of course, it's decentralized, right? There's no banks controlling it. There's no governments controlling it. It's literally decentralized and its own thing, right? So that's what I like about Bitcoin. That's why I'm really, really, really bullish for Bitcoin. So that's that, guys, right? Keep it simple. Now here's another chart that I want to show you guys. That the bull market has pretty much started. And I told you guys many times, I wouldn't say we are in fact 100%, in a bull market just yet. I believe we're still in a bear market, right? The bull market hasn't actually happened, but I will say this, that, the bull market has, we are in fact in its early stages of the next bull market, right? You guys clearly see, we have a red haired bottom one. Bitcoin's clearly breaking out, it's forming a new pattern up to the upside. So yeah, the bull market is on, I will say that, the bull market has in fact started. We are in fact in its early stages right now for the next bull market. We know the halving is obviously going to happen in less than, a year from now, so it's right around the corner. So yeah, I'll say, the way Bitcoin is going right now and the way I'm looking at the charts for Bitcoin, okay, and just knowing where Bitcoin will be heading, towards the end of this year in 2023, which is around 50K, I will say, yeah, the bull market is on 100%, guys, okay? So looking at the charts, it's on, right? We've seen Bitcoin dip, and then it pumps, and then it dips, and then it pumps, and then it dips, and now it's going to pump, right? So like I said, just like I mentioned before with this chart right here, where is it? This chart, right? You know, Bitcoin movements, for the past 10 years have moved the same. You know what I mean? So there's no difference, guys. Okay. So it pumps and then it dumps and then it pumps and then it dumps. So we always enter, a bear market and a bull market. And this happens pretty much every 4 years. Okay. Every 4 years. So we are in fact starting the next bull market, guys. So that is some great news right there. We're going to see Bitcoin pump to, its new high, 35K, 40K, of course. Okay, Bitcoin is on its way to $40,000, 100%. And of course, it's going to reach, 45, 50. And I really do believe that's going to happen towards the end of this year. I really do see a 50K Bitcoin towards the end of this year in 2023. So be excited for that for all my Bitcoin holders out there. Now, just to show you guys this chart, you guys can clearly see it's a very, very simple chart, right? Bitcoin reaches an all-time high and then it drops. Okay, and once we have the halving, it pumps again, and of course it reaches an all-time high and then it drops. Okay, and of course, I don't know why this chart doesn't have a halving right here, but we did have a halving in 2020, right? Our most previous halving. So we'll just pretend there's one right here. Okay, and then of course it pumped, reached a new all-time high, and then it dropped, of course, and now we're about to have another halving. So this chart just really just show you guys that every single time we have a halving event for Bitcoin, it will reach a new all-time high. Okay, so the next few years in 2024 and of course 2025, we will see a all-time high, a new all-time high for Bitcoin in those years, especially 2025. Okay, I've been telling you guys this many, many times, and I love this chart because it's just very, very simple. You know what I mean? It just shows you guys that every single time we have the halving, just like I mentioned many, many times, okay, it always reaches a new all-time high. That's what I want you guys to understand. So we will easily see Bitcoin reach back up to 69K, its previous all-time highs back in 2021. That's like easily going to happen, easily, okay? And then we're going to see it reach, six figs, 100K, and it's going to just go on from there. I told you guys many times, I really do believe in the next bull market, Bitcoin's new all-time high is going to be around 200K to 250K. That is just my personal opinion. Now, a lot of people out there are in fact saying Bitcoin can go way higher than that, which is crazy. People are saying it's going to reach up to like 300K and over, which is insane. If Bitcoin does that, right, that's going to be absolutely amazing to see, right? So you guys understand this is very, very possible. In fact, this chart is actually indicating Bitcoin can actually reach just over 165K, $165,000. So 200K, very, very possible, in my opinion, guys. You guys let me know in the comments below. What is your personal, price prediction for Bitcoin for the next, bull market, right? What's its all-time high? Its new all-time high. What do you guys think it's going to be? Personally, I think it's going to be 200K to 250K. I think that's very, very realistic. Call me crazy, but that's just my personal predictions for Bitcoin in the next bull market. So that's that, guys. Now, let me show you guys this. So Michael Saylor just posted this video. Well, he actually posted this yesterday, and pretty much it just shows you guys that Bitcoin does in fact have store value. Okay, so right here, there's Bitcoin, there's S&P 500, there's real estate, there's gold, and of course US dollar, and many more, right? Other assets. Okay, so for all the people out there, I just want to say real quick, right? Let me just zoom in. Okay, so for all the people out there that say Bitcoin doesn't have store of value, Bitcoin is volatile and whatnot, and it is, okay, I understand that, but you guys understand Bitcoin, right, its value always holds up over the years, and this video will just show that, right? So let me just play it for you guys. So you guys clearly see Bitcoin is still 100%, while everything else is going down. Okay, S&P 500, real estate, gold, the US dollar. You guys clearly see it's all going down while Bitcoin is going straight, right? So for all the people out there that say, Bitcoin doesn't have store of value, think again. And this video does show you guys that, right? So over the years, absolutely insane. That's actually crazy. it's just so steady. Bitcoin is just still at 100% right there. You guys can clearly see that, right? So understand this, guys. We all know Bitcoin has only been around for over 13 years, right? So for the past 13 years, right, Bitcoin has performed so much better than these other assets like real estate, S&P 500, gold, the US dollar, all these other assets and whatnot, right? Bitcoin has performed way better than them. You know what I mean? Like truly. So just think about that, guys, right? Like name another asset that has performed way better than Bitcoin 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like just think about that, guys. From 2013 to where we are now, just think about another asset class that has performed way better than Bitcoin. Now remember, Bitcoin back in 2013, we actually saw it at $100. You know what I mean? And that was actually our first time ever seeing Bitcoin at $100. First time in history, right? And now 10 years later, now Bitcoin's at 30K. Now remember at one point back in 2021, Bitcoin was actually worth, 69K, almost 70K, almost 100K. So just think about that. Like there's no other asset class out there that has performed so much better than Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin does obviously have store of value, right? Just think about that, guys. So if you want to, stay away from inflation, okay, invest in Bitcoin. Not financial advice. Always do your own research, but this video just really does show you guys that, Bitcoin does in fact have store of value. Okay, it truly, truly does compared to these other asset classes, right? So just think about that. Now, check this out. The Bitcoin monthly returns, so far we are down 0.84%, but, we're only, uh, 3 weeks, a week into this month. So we still have another 3 weeks into this month. So we're still early into this month. But I really do believe that, this is going to change, right? Because like I said many times, okay, Bitcoin actually does perform pretty well in the month of July. We saw last year in 2022, 2021, and 2020, Bitcoin was performing absolutely amazing. You guys clearly see that even in 2018, 2017, even, right? 2015 and 2013, 10 years ago, Bitcoin was performing amazing, right? You guys clearly see that. So this month, I'm expecting Bitcoin to, perform pretty well, right? I really, really am. Okay, like I said, I'm expecting Bitcoin to really pump this month in July. You guys can clearly see, okay, at least 35K, right? At least 35K, right? And it seems like a lot of people are in fact saying and predicting, this month alone in the next upcoming few weeks, we're going to see Bitcoin pump to $35,000. And once it reaches 35K, we're going to see 40K, right? So Bitcoin is on its way to reaching these price targets, guys, 100%. So it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin, right? It really, really is. So someone says here, let me just go ahead and answer some of you guys' questions. Someone just says here, how do you know when the bull market is over? Well, you can just tell by, let me show you guys a chart. I think I just showed you guys a chart about that. So right here, this is the chart that I want to show you guys, okay? So pretty much, guys, how you tell a bull market is pretty much over and we're on to, the next, oh, sorry, what did I say? I think I was telling the complete opposite. So how do you tell when the bear market is over and the bull market is starting? Is pretty much when we hit bottom, right? So if we see Bitcoin hit bottom and it breaks out, right? We see a very massive falling wedge for Bitcoin, right? And it hits bottom and we see it forming a new pattern up to the upside, right? And we already hit bottom. That's pretty much, the next leg up for Bitcoin, right? So it's pretty simple, you know what I mean? Once we see Bitcoin reach bottom, okay, from this falling wedge, and it's clearly, forming a new pattern up to the upside, I think that's when we will, see Bitcoin starting the next bull market. So let me just show you guys on the weekly time frame here on TradingView. So you guys can clearly see right here, this is the Bitcoin chart, obviously. So let me just explain right here. So you guys can clearly see this was in fact Bitcoin's previous all-time highs, and then this was in fact its lows right down here. Right, so this was obviously a massive drop, a 77% drop, over 70% drop from its previous all-time highs to its lows, which is absolutely insane. So Bitcoin has dropped a lot, right? But anyways, you guys can clearly see Bitcoin from this falling wedge, right? All of 2022, we saw Bitcoin drop that much, right? 77%, like I said, which is massive. And then right here is obviously Bitcoin's bottom, which was around $15,000 to $16,000, right? That is in fact Bitcoin's bottom. And now clearly you guys can clearly see at the charts right now, right? that Bitcoin is obviously forming a new pattern up to the upside. You guys can clearly see that, right? From its bottom, okay, and of course from this falling wedge that we have in fact been seeing all of last year, right? So clearly Bitcoin is clearly forming, okay, a new pattern up to the upside, right? So we're not going to see in Bitcoin history, guys, we have never seen Bitcoin, go back down all the way back down to its previous lows, right? Like never in Bitcoin history we have ever seen that. So that was in fact its bottom 100%, you know what I mean? So we're not going to see that again. So it's all ups from here, guys. And understand this, it's not the time for it's very unlikely for Bitcoin to drop back down to like, $20,000, you know what I mean, or below $20,000, like I mentioned many times, because okay, we are in fact less than a year from now from the Bitcoin halving, and we know it's a very bullish time for Bitcoin. Every single time we have the halving, right, just like what I showed you guys, every single time we have the halving, it will break a new all-time high. So if you really think about it, okay, yes, I wouldn't say we are in fact 100% in a bull market just yet, but this is, the early stages of the next bull market, 100%. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. But yeah, that's that. The bull market is for sure about to start soon, guys. Okay, the bear market is pretty much over, pretty much. Okay, but yeah, we're things are about to change for sure. Okay. Okay, so another person says 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. That's a fact. Yes, it is. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin, right? Very simple. 100% I agree with you. But yeah, Bitcoin is not really moving, guys. And that's why I told you guys many times, you should really take this as an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin, right? Because it has in fact been consolidating at this level. You guys can clearly see. So this is for sure a great time to buy Bitcoin. And that's why, guys, a few hours ago, later on, before, right, I was buying Bitcoin, and I did in fact invest into Bitcoin. So if you guys haven't seen my most previous video, you should definitely check it out. Let's turn that off. It's getting kind of cold. But the markets are not moving. We know that Bitcoin is clearly not moving as well. It seems like Solana is slightly dropping as well. It was pumping, but it's having a slight drop right now. But it's still holding up very well at $21. So you guys clearly see that, yeah, altcoins are not really moving, but Solana and Avalanche, especially Avalanche, AVAX, it's pumping. You guys clearly see that, right? So that's, amazing to see for AVAX, 100%. I actually sold majority of my AVAX as well. And you guys are probably wondering, what did I do with my investments? With my profits that I made from AVAX, I pretty much reinvested it into Bitcoin, right? So I actually don't hold any AVAX today, okay? Because, I was up in profit, so I just sold majority of it, right? You guys understand, with majority of these altcoins, if I'm up in profit, I pretty much just take my profits, right? I don't really want to hold them for long term, but there are in fact some specific ones I don't want to hold for long term. But I'm actually planning on buying back into AVAX. I don't know why I sold them. I kind of regret selling AVAX, to be honest with you guys, because I know AVAX is for sure one of those altcoins that's gonna really perform really well in the next bull market. We know alt season is obviously right around the corner as well. Okay, like Bitcoin's obviously gonna skyrocket, but altcoins are going to absolutely skyrocket as well. Like what we saw, in 2021, we saw a lot of altcoins pumping. We saw Solana, we saw AVAX, we saw Cardano, Polygon, Ethereum, Polkadot, Dogecoin, of course, right? Early of 2021, and then we saw, Shiba Inu, and many more, right? We saw Chainlink, we saw Litecoin. What else was there? We saw Axie Infinity. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like a gaming crypto coin, and it was absolutely pumping. I remember, right? It was like towards the end of the year in 2021. It was pumping like crazy. So yeah, a lot of altcoins were in fact pumping. I'm gonna call it alt season, right? And that's when majority of altcoins really do pump. So it's understandable why people are in fact, investing into altcoins, right? Other than something like Bitcoin, because the price is too high. I understand that, a lot of people want to invest into like low cap coins. So it's understandable, you know what I mean? And yeah, you can obviously make a lot of money with altcoins, because if you look at these prices for these altcoins, and I've mentioned this many times, they are cheap. You know what I mean? Like they are literally cheap as hell. Like if you go to something like Solana, majority of these altcoins will be the same chart as Solana, right? So if you go to the all-time chart, zoom in a little bit, you guys see obviously majority of these altcoins will have a previous high, and then will just massively drop. And you guys can clearly see Solana at one point was at $258, almost $260. That was in fact its previous highest, and now it's currently at $21. So imagine, right? Imagine if Solana, which most likely will, if Solana does in fact go back up to its previous highs in the next, bull market, in the next alt season, you're gonna have a massive return, right? So just think about that. You guys understand? Not all these altcoins will actually go back up to its previous highs, but some of them will, right? Some of them will, but not all of them. Okay, that's what I want you guys to understand, right? Who knows if Solana can actually go back up to its previous highs? It could not. It could, right? Do I see Solana going back up, at $100? I do, right? In the next bull market, I 100% do. But do I see it going back up to its previous highs? Maybe. I'm really like 50-50. I'm not 100% sure, but you guys understand some of these altcoins will go back up to its previous highs. Okay, so it's understandable why people are in fact investing into these altcoins because they're cheap. It's understandable, right? We are here to make that money. Okay, so it's understandable, guys. Okay, and yes, majority of these altcoins are dirt cheap. You know what I mean? Like they are literally cheap, guys. It's so crazy how much money, okay, how much room there is to make, right, for the next bull market. Like if you take advantage now of these prices and you buy now and start DCAing into, crypto in general, right, and you just patiently wait for the next bull market, you will obviously make money. Like if you really want to make money with Bitcoin and crypto, this is the time to do it now, guys, right? That's what I've been trying to tell you guys many, many times, right? This is obviously the time to do all that. So that's that, guys. But of course, it's not financial advice, so always do your own research, right? Always do your own research. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end tonight's stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give this stream a thumbs up, and of course subscribe, guys. Let's get to 3,000 subscribers. I really would appreciate that. And if you guys haven't seen my most previous videos that I've uploaded today, okay, in the video where I actually bought some Bitcoin, right, go ahead and watch that video. I would really appreciate that. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give a thumbs up, subscribe. I really would appreciate that as well. And I'll catch you guys all in my next video. Have a blessed day, guys.